This video is based on a workshop I attended at the Anarchist Book Fair on the 18th of October this year. The workshop was called Consenting Sex is Not a Crime, and it was run by the English Collective of Prostitutes and Queer Strike. I'm going to read you their overview that they passed out. Gay sex has been decriminalised. That's 1967 in the UK, yet the criminalisation of sex work has increased. Why should two adults who want to have consensual sexual contact with each other in private not be able to do so just because payment is involved? LGBTQ sex workers and supporters are spearheading campaigns for the abolition of the prostitution laws, which includes taking on parliamentarians who have formed an alliance with homophobic evangelical Christians to propose increased criminalisation. With rising unemployment and benefit cuts, the number of sex workers is increasing. Police arrests, raids, crackdowns and deportations are making it more dangerous to work. Come hear about campaigns for decriminalisation, including recent victories in France and Canada, and discuss how we can work together to throw off the last significant vestige of Victorian moral law. Now, one of the speakers there was talking about the events in Soho of December the 4th, 2014. Now, I first heard about that in an article in The Guardian written by Rupert Everett, and I'm going to read some of that. He says, 200 of our boys in blue raided more than 20 models' flats, arresting 30 girls, confiscating their earnings. This money, by the way, is virtually impossible to retrieve due to various glitches in the law concerning legitimate earnings, etc. They broke down doors, intimidated girls into accepting cautions, i.e. criminal records, and served civil eviction papers that, unless you were a lawyer, you would not know had hidden in their depths, 20 plus pages, the time and date you were to appear in court if you wanted to appeal. I might also mention that those 200 boys in blue were accompanied by riot vans and dogs, and some of the girls that they kicked out into the street in December in London were in their underwear. Originally, they claimed that the raids were to find victims of trafficking. Upon discovering that there was nobody there that was there not of their own volition, they changed their story and said, no, we were looking for stolen goods. And apparently they found some stolen goods and also some drugs. So, sounds like a very proportional raid for that, don't you think? Despite the bullshit excuses, everybody knows what's going on, okay? Chris Michael wrote a little piece about Rupert Everett's TV show Love for Sale, and he says that it's hard not to think that organised brothels being stamped out in the name of human trafficking is just another form of gentrification. Rupert Everett elaborates, politicians and police rebrand prostitutes into victims from she-devils and then just treat them the same way. The criminalisation of the punter will just make prostitution more dangerous. It will drive it underground. Why are we still living in the shadow of the Reformation? Further, Soho Estates is a property empire built by the late Paul Raymond during the second half of the last century. It is a fortune built on flesh, on the sex trade. It has been inherited by Raymond's granddaughter Fawn. She wants to become an actress. In the meantime, she's playing Monopoly and seems determined to redevelop Soho and double her money. In a curious coincidence, the week after the big raid, she receives permission from Westminster Council to knock down the houses on Walker's Court, where many of the models' flats are located, and build 2 hideous towers replete with heliports, so that Soho can take its place in cool tax haven Britannia. So, this is a quote from the English collective of Prostitutes and Queer Strike. LGBTQ sex workers are asking for support against proposals in Parliament to criminalise sex workers' clients. This is going on in the UK, also in Northern Ireland, also in other European countries. The support that they're looking for, they want us to sign an open letter, which I will link to. That's on their website. Their website is fantastic anyway. You should definitely go and have a look at that. And to be honest, the open letter is incredibly interesting and informative, so I do recommend that too. That has, of course, been signed by Rupert Everett and also Grayson Perry. If you ever see this, I loved your Reef lectures, man. Now, moving on. Since we're talking about the Anarchist Book Fair, I better tell you a little bit about the workshop that happened after Consenting Sex is Not a Crime, which was held by Women Against Rape. I mean, they were talking about a couple of cases specifically that they said were miscarriages of justice, and they very may well be, in which case I wish them every success in fighting those miscarriages of justice, as they are, but at one point one of their speakers said, some people actually believe that women lie about rape. And the whole room erupted. There's all these women going, I can't believe, why would they think a woman would put herself through that? And all this kind of bollocks. Let's get real. When somebody says that, it's pretty hard to take them seriously. I found it pretty hard to take them seriously. But what I want to talk to you about is something, I just want to tell you a little anecdote that came up in the Any Points from the Floor section at the end. So some woman in front of me says that professional women earning a decent wage are all gender traitors who shit on other women and join the class of the oppressor. And she said that the worst are female solicitors who will represent rapists. And they only do it because all they care about is. So, I pointed out, maybe that's not always the case. Maybe sometimes women represent rapists because they believe in law and justice. Everybody laughed. She then went on to inform us that the only moral approach a woman could take to representing a rapist is to do a bad job. I mean, I pointed out that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights basically guarantees due process, so what she was suggesting was both illegal and abhorrent. Nobody laughed, but it was very awkward. Although afterwards I met a woman on the train who'd been in there who said that she has a son and she worries about those things. She thinks like me, which was really nice to hear, actually. Very encouraging. But I think it's, also incredibly notable that she felt unable to raise her voice in that situation, Safer spaces, right? See you next time.